What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another episode of NBA Weekly. I am your host, Pee Wee the Plug, 1/4 through the wire, the number one Knicks fan in the world, aka Mr. Know-It-All, and the Phoenix Suns are one game away from the NBA Finals. Congratulations to the Suns, their fans, CP3 fanatics, my fellow Devin Booker fans who've been riding this wave of seeing our boy go from 13th overall pick out of Kentucky to cracking the starting lineup and being a little surprise rookie to, blossoming into this star that got this unfair treatment of empty stats, from the Twitter world and different basketball folks and whatnot. So shout out to the Phoenix Suns. I do want to say, and I don't want to be corny, because I know it became a corny thing after the passing of my boy Kobe, the job not done, job not finished thing, but they are one game away. So technically it isn't over. This NBA season has been full of so many ups and downs and weird things that we just couldn't see coming, and so many different crazy scenarios that the Suns have to make sure they finish. I'm not a picky person. I'm not an overreacting person. I'm not an unnecessary person. So I don't care if they finish it in the next game. I don't care if they allow the Clippers to win the next two and it goes to 7. Whenever they can or whenever they want to win that final game, just do it. You know what I mean? You didn't come this far. And it would be such a heartbreak for a guy like Chris Paul to come this far. 3-1 lead. One game away from going to the NBA Finals. The Clippers are down Kawhi Leonard. Their morale is down. Paul George missed the 2 free throws in Game 2 that basically could have potentially cost them the series. The Clippers should be down. So you should just finish this game out as soon as you can. The series out as soon as you can. But whether it's in Game 5 or in Game 7, as long as they get that last and final win, they will be playing on the biggest stage that nobody has predicted them to be. I don't know Suns fans themselves that predicted them to be, a game away from potentially playing in the NBA Finals. So credit to them, and it's been a super exciting season and journey thus far. Now, about this Game 4, particularly Game 4, it was a tough game. It was a different game than us 2021 fans have been used to seeing over the last, I don't know how many years. But, this high scoring, high tempo, perimeter centric basketball that has blossomed into today's game. For us to get a playoff game, in the Western Conference Finals, the last, round before the NBA Finals, and for us to get an 84-80 finish is crazy. That's almost as unpredictable as the Suns being a game away. If anybody told me that I would get a game in one of the conference finals this late into the season, 84-80, I would be like, you're a liar. You're a liar. That's such a 2002, 2003 Detroit Pistons type of score. But here it is. Guys weren't making shots. Some defense was being played, but I do think a lot of guys missed a lot of shots. A lot of guys fatigued. CP3, had a big break of playing basketball with the COVID situation, and he's, one thing about that is, it when it removes you from basketball and you have to sit down and everything. Whether he was facing symptoms or feeling symptoms or not, I don't think he was. But whenever you're in the flow of basketball and they remove you for a substantial amount of time without you even knowing it, and you got to get right back into the mix, it's hard to catch a win. It's definitely hard to catch a win. Devin Booker with the nose situation. Paul George has been one of the most played minutes of anybody during the entire playoffs, and now that Kawhi is gone, we've known his role has expanded, and what he's called to do has been piled onto his shoulders, so he's exhausted. And you can see guys are starting to get fatigued. We haven't had a big break for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I did expect at some point for this series and the Hawks Bucks series to have like a 2-day break, because I felt like we had some of those in the earlier rounds. But for both series, it's been play, 1-day rest, play. We haven't had a 2-day break. It's been on, off, on, off, on, off. Even with them traveling from Phoenix to California, and I know it's not a long distance at all, but still, at this late, with not so many games, they usually allow them to have 2 breaks when they're traveling from city to city. And even with the Hawks and the Bucks who aren't as close. They're not far either, but they're not as close as Phoenix and California. They're playing tomorrow right back again after playing last night. So not a lot of breaks, very few breaks at all. And these guys are going right back at it, and you can see the fatigue catching up. I think the Suns shot around 20% from three. Just gruesome, horrid, disgusting. And, as bad as them shooting 20% from three was, the Clippers shot 16%, 5 of 31, which hurt them because, for them to lose the game by 4 and it came down to free throws. You look at it, Paul George going 1 for 9 from 3. If he just makes a second one, we talking about a different outcome right now. Same thing with Reggie Jackson, 2 of 9. Marcus Morris 0 for 3, which is kind of their X factor. When you can get 2 or 3 threes from Marcus Morris, it kind of separates and changes the game. The same thing for the Suns on the flip side for them. Jay Crowder, went 1 for 6. Usually if Jay Crowder is giving you 2 to 3 threes, that's like a big X factor and a big difference. Like I always say jokingly, but seriously at the same time, when Jay Crowder hits, a few threes, you kind of can kiss the night goodbye. You know what I mean? Like that's always a cherry on top for the Suns or any team Jay Crowder's been on. When he's knocking down the threes, that's kind of a wrap for you. But yeah, man, for them to go 4 of 20 from 3, the Phoenix Suns shooting 20%, and then like I said, for the Clippers to go 5 of 31 at 16%, just not really ideal. And then down the stretch, very tough, especially for Paul George. He got put to the free throw line in a crucial situation, which was good to see that he can redeem himself after the game, 2 misses. And he went up there and he delivered. He knocked 2 down. And then right after, he had to go back up to the free throw line again shortly after. And after knocking down those 2 big free throws that they needed, he missed that first one. And, Paul George is my guy. But I don't, I'm not afraid to criticize any player. I don't like any player enough to not criticize him. And he was for sure wrong, and definitely not right for missing those 2 in game 2 because it potentially could have cost them the series. Right now, if he knocks down those free throws and they walk out with a win, they leave Phoenix with a 1-1 situation. They win at home in game 3. Now they're up 2-1, and now this series is tied. This was a must. This would have been a must win for Phoenix, and even if they still eventually won this game, it's still just 2-2. Now you're going to Phoenix down 3-1. But in this game, particularly with Paul George's third free throw, because like I said, he hit the first 2 in a clutch situation. That third free throw that he did miss, the reason I'm not going to, he's no doubt about it, a miss is a miss, and in that situation, you have to make it, and you want to make it, of course. But I feel bad for him because that was just a tough break. Any basketball player or basketball people know, whether you're a Suns or Clippers fan, whether you like Paul George or not, the way that miss was just like the rim just not being on his side today. That's just one of those things. In game 2, when he missed those crucial free throws, he missed those. Those were just poor misses. But in this game, that miss, the first one that he had that he wasn't trying to miss, because he did have some misses down the stretch that he obviously was intentionally trying to miss. But the one that he was trying to make, it went down. It went down and just popped out. And it's one of those situations, like I said, if you're a basketball player, those moments happen all the time, whether you're at the free throw line, a mid-range shot, 3, sometimes even a layup, where you don't do anything wrong, but the rim just says, hey, I'm not rocking with you today. And basketball players know the flip side, whether you've experienced it or you've experienced it against an opponent when somebody takes a poor shot and the rim kind of helps them. You know what I mean? You get a little back end bounce, and it goes in and it rims in somehow, some way, even if it was an ugly shot. But, tough situation for him. Down the stretch, I don't know how much I agree with purposely missing. I felt when Boogie got up there, after PG missed, they had another chance to redeem themselves because Boogie had the offensive rebound. Sarek fouled him on a loose ball. Put Boogie at the free throw. He makes the first, cuts the lead from 3-2. In that situation for me, what about, I think it was like 8, 7 seconds left. I'm telling Boogie, I'm letting Boogie make it. And again, we're going to have to play this free throw game just for a little bit. Obviously, you're not going to play it for that long. But I think with 8 or 7 seconds left, you quickly fouled him. You still have a decent amount of time to get that ball up and try to get you a shot. It'd have to be, something quick and moving, but it's still giving yourself a chance. before they can foul you. You're hoping before they can foul you. And then you're betting, you're counting on one of them to miss. And eventually, when they was playing a free throw game, CP3 did miss. He did miss a free throw, but at that point, they already had a 2-point lead. And when he made the next one, it just boosted it back up to 3. But if you allow Boogie to make both free throws, it's a 1-point game. Chris Paul misses one. And now when he makes the second, it's just a 2-point game. The Suns can't foul you. You get the ball in. They have to play quick defense. They can't set up because neither one of y'all have timeouts, and you're just putting the pressure up there. You send, your best player, Paul George, to the rim to make a play. If the defense collapses, he kicks it out. A game-winning 3 opportunity, or he gets an easy look. He gets fouled because he might get that call. Him being, the star player in your team, and it just gives you a better chance. I don't really like the miss on purpose, and then Boogie didn't even give you a chance. He just threw the ball at the backboard. You can't do that, and you better off just knock it down a free throw at that point. You know what I mean? At least if you're going to do it right. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about giving yourself some type of chance, and I think with them missing with Boogie at the line, it really didn't give him a chance. Tough win for the Suns. Like I said, 1 game away. Earlier I did some work for House of Highlights on IG, and I was asked a question by some fans and some viewers saying, out of the conference finals, East and West, just the conference finals in general, who was the most underrated player to me? You know what I mean? And I said, you have Trey in Atlanta, you have Giannis obviously in Milwaukee, Paul George for the Clippers, and then out in Phoenix, obviously, rightfully so, a lot of the credit and conversation is surrounded by Devin Booker and Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Chris Paul and his leadership, him being a point guard, who's going to execute down the stretch, make the right plays, make the right reads, and just play winning basketball. Devin Booker, flawless scorer, tenacity, not backing down, never afraid of the moment. Great. But when Deandre Ayton is playing like he did today and has been playing throughout the playoffs, you're now dealing with a 3-headed monster that can beat anybody on any given night. You know what I mean? Anybody on any given night. And as long as he's playing like this and they can win this last game in this series and move to the NBA Finals, no matter who comes out from the East, they have a legit chance to win themselves a title as long as he's playing this level of basketball. I'm talking about tonight. And I said this earlier. This is before I saw what he was going to do tonight. 19, 22 rebounds, 4 blocks, 8 of 14, 57% from the field. All 3 of his free throws he made. Out of his 22 rebounds, 9 of them were offensive. That's a killer. That's a killer for the Clippers. A lot of those offensive rebounds. With the Clippers, if you're watching the game down the stretch, fourth quarter, it was for a long time, the Phoenix Suns had a 1-point lead. It would go to 3. Clippers would score a 1-point lead. Go back up to 3. Clippers would come back down and score again. 1-point lead. And I remember a few of those possessions where the Suns were able to add and never let the Clippers get that 1-point lead or get that lead, came because of Deandre Ayton getting some offensive rebounds. You know what I mean? I think those small detailed things that a lot of people won't bring up in conversation are game changers. The fine details is what breaks or make a game, especially when you see a game like this come down to free throws and it's so close to possession. Without one of those offensive rebounds, this game could have a different result. So I'm just giving the credit to a guy that I think deserves it. And like I said, man, I think he is the most underrated player in these conference finals with the last 4 teams left. I think Ayton makes them a legitimate 3-headed monster. And their talent is kind of all over the place. You have Chris Paul at the helm, decision-making, dictating the pace, execution, vocal leadership, being in this situation. The pressure is nothing to him. You put him at the free throw line, it was no doubt in anybody's mind. Even when he missed, nobody gave a fuck that he missed because it's Chris Paul. He made, up to that point, they had made about 34 free throws in a row. Nobody blinked an eye when he missed or said a word when he missed because it's Chris Paul. And like I said, Devin Booker being in that backcourt with him, not being afraid of the moment, being able and willing to take and make any shot at any given time is crucial. And then, just like I said, having the heart, the guts, he's not backing down from anybody. Broken nose, he's going to play with it, take the mask off if it's bothering him. He shot the ball not so well today, But down the stretch, he wasn't afraid to take and make shots and be aggressive and get to the line. And I think that's what great players do. They don't allow their numbers to affect them mentally, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting that W and not getting that L. And I think Devin Booker did a good job of that tonight. But when you have Ayton doing all of the dirty work, because like I said, his 19 points in a perimeter-centric game, you know, Ayton being a guy that's getting offensive rebounds, going back up, getting lobs from Chris Paul. This isn't 2003 where, you know, his 20 points are him catching it on the block, going to work, you know, hooking and just drop step dunking. This ain't the type of league for that. Big man ain't really getting it in like that. Joel Embiid is really the only one that's really dominating like that. So Ayton's 19 or 20 ain't popping out through the screen to you. But when you look back on the game and you see the 19, you see the 22, you see out of the 22 rebounds, 9 of them were offensive rebound. And if you know basketball, you know how important second chance looks are, second and third chance looks are. And then even the 4 blocks. Clippers have been dominating these playoffs and have made it this far by being able to play small. And I think tonight was the most minutes Zubac has played in his career, because Ayton's presence made Tyronn Lue adjust and say, man, we just can't afford to play as small as we like to. So I got to get the game ball to Deandre Ayton, man. And I'm excited to see this young man take this confidence and this play not only into the next game to make sure they finish the series, because it's important that they continue to stay hungry and continue to be the Phoenix Suns team that we've seen. They don't really play around. They finish the job. And I think it's important that they do. You don't want to give this Clipper team any more life. Even with Kawhi out, this team has a certain championship DNA and pedigree where it ain't never over to them. We've seen in all the last series, and I know the Suns are a different team, and this is a different situation without Kawhi. But it wasn't just Kawhi bringing them back when they was down 0-2 in the past 2 rounds. That was a team effort. It was way outside of just PG and Kawhi. As a team, they have a certain DNA where they're never going to quit and back down and just let you stump all over them. They're going to come and give you everything that they got and make you earn that win. I think the Phoenix Suns need to make sure that they apply that pressure, try to close this out. Don't give them any hope or life and extend this. And yeah, man, I just want to see Ayton, you know, continue to parlay this play into the closing game on into the NBA Finals if they're fortunate enough to close this out. And then next year, you know, parlay this into an all-star season. I think what we're seeing right now is a glimpse of an all-star big and a top big. Like, this is top 5 play, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you got Joel, you got Jokic, and then after that, it's a toss-up, man. And Ayton can creep right up there in the top 5 with this level play. You know what I mean? Like I said, rightfully so, a lot of attention goes to Devin Booker and Chris Paul. But, man, Deandre Ayton deserves his flowers, his respect. You know, especially coming in that class where it's so much talked about Luka and Trey. You know what I mean? And then a lot, and even Michael Porter Jr., Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then even outside of that talk, we talk about a lot of people that didn't really succeed or play at a high level. You know, a lot of talk is about Kevin Knox and Mo Bamba. So for Ayton to blossom like this on this stage is real good to see for him, man. It's real good to see, and I hope he keeps it up for the rest of these playoffs and for the next season. But like I said, incredible game. You know, I'm just a basketball fan. I just like I don't care if it's 160 to 162 or it's 80 to 84. I just like down to the wire, seeing these guys fight, seeing, you know, great play, executing, you know, free throw situations, you know, coaching, seeing how guys decide to coach. Are you going to let him make both free throws? Are you going to tell him to miss? Are you fouling when you're up 3? I just like to see the critical part of the game and seeing these players execute and pull it out and earn these wins. So I could care less if it's 84 to 80 or 164 to 160. As long as it's close and, you know, it's worth watching to the end, that's all I ask for. But, again, much love to the Suns, much love to the fan base, much love to Monty Williams and James Jones, black executive, black coach duo. Chris Paul, 1 game away from being in the NBA Finals, and it's going to be exciting to see him actually have a legit chance, because whoever they play against, I think in the next round they could match up well against, and it won't be no juggernaut that they're having to go against. So, hey, can't wait to see Game 5, in the next couple days and see the result. But as always, I am Pee Wee the Plug. This is NBA Weekly. I will see you guys next time. I'm out.